As 2 dynamic days draw to a close, there's no better way to capture the insights shared than by looking at the power behind it all. Hyperscalers. Powered by hyperscalers and driven by code, the future telco cloud stack will deliver seamless, scalable, and fully automated networks that redefine connectivity. The following panelists will tell us how. Dennis Bernier, CEO, Verticloud; Mohammed Hamouda, Regional Telco Head, NEC GCC; Ijaz Sial, AWS Technologist, 6G and AIML; Manish Kansal, Middle East and Africa Head of Core Networks, Nokia; and our moderator for the panel will be Hernan Munoz, Technical Practice Head, Salience Consulting. As they make their way on stage, gentlemen, if your mics are working, you may already start talking. We'll give them a round of applause.
Very honored to be moderating this panel with these distinguished panelists. And I will start reading this opening statement to just set the scene for our discussion about the telco cloud stack of today and the future. So for the last few years, the industry has often framed the telco hyperscaler relationship as a power struggle. But in reality, the digital infrastructure of nations will not be built by hyperscalers alone, and it cannot be sustained by telcos in isolation. Hyperscalers bring unmatched global scale, AI platforms, and software velocity. Telcos bring regulated national infrastructure and physical proximity to customers through access networks and, most critically, edge and core adjacent nodes. That ownership of proximity at the edge is not just a technical asset. It's the foundation of a true win-win partnership model where hyperscalers deliver intelligence and platforms and telcos deliver execution, trust, and sovereignty. Today's discussion is not about winners and losers. It's about how telcos and hyperscalers co-design, cooperate, and co-monetize the unconventional telco cloud stack of today in 2025 and the future. So basically, just want to say a few words on where we are right now with the telco cloud stack. If we move back like 10, 15 years, when the telco functions started being virtualized and cloudified, I think most of us coincided on a vision of, okay, we have like the IT cloud already. Now we have this new element in the network of telco cloud. Let's try to unify this and have a unified platform for virtualization, cloudification, simplified, more efficient, and we move on. But the reality, 10, 15 years later, brought us to a different situation. Most of the telco operators ended up with not only the IT cloud and the telco cloud, but multi-cloud for telco internally. So several internal cloud stacks. And not only this, but also the hyperscalers came to the picture and started offering also the cloud services to the final customers. So we ended up in a mixture of internal and external cloud, a multi-cloud environment, and this is where we are. So I would like the panelists to start giving us one sentence on, in your opinion, how does a successful telco hyperscaler partnership look like currently and in the near future? So I will start with Denise, please.
I think I will skip this one because I think my colleagues are much better on the core
so
parts we
Mohammed.
discussed. Huh?
Actually, what you said is right about that era of discussion about telco and IT cloud and convergence, then going into multi-cloud, and now hyperscalers came to the picture. So the discussion about multi-cloud now is whatever telco providing from their sovereign cloud and whatever from hyperscalers. And maybe last 6 or 7 years, there was narrative about who will dominate this competition. So by time we find out they came into a final win-win situation. So now they start to go into synergy of some partnership, generating some use cases out of this fact that we can see. So everyone excel in something. So telcos excel into proximity, more data privacy, more labeled as sovereign. Hyperscalers coming from agility, velocity, more ready to consume AI capability. So what we see is these complementing each other's now, and they came into win-win situation. There is some use cases actually that had been seen going live. I will explain further maybe during the panel.
Yeah, thank you, Mohammed. Yes?
Yeah, I think I generally agree. I think there have been some learnings from the past 5-10 years. And I think we all need to be honest to ourselves that there exists a notion in the telecom service providers and also cloud providers that one is to take the business of the other. And I think we need to evolve and grow out of this compete situation into working together situation. I think we all have been on the 5G journey, and a lot of cloud native promises, a lot of monetization conversations did not play out. So I think there are learnings to be made. So one of the day job that I have is actually envisioning about 6G, and I know we are still making money or talking about making money out of 5G. But I think there are learnings, and there is a forcing function for us, which is AI now. And what it helps us is traditionally telecom cycles have been 8 to 10 years when we talk about different generations. But with AI, we have an opportunity to innovate and monetize and deliver value across 2 to 3 years cycle. So how do we reconcile the best of the telecom networks, the technologies that have been strengthened and built over time, and how the innovations that are available with respect to AI, and how do we bring both of these together? How do we solve data security and sovereignty challenges that are out there, versus conceding to the idea that these problems have been there? So if I summarize it, for me, there are newer technologies to solve older problems. We must evolve our thought process towards the solutioning approach of how do we work together. Thank you.
Fantastic, thank you. So Manish, your view?
You started the discussion by saying who wins, is there a power struggle here and so on. I would frame it in a very different way. I would frame it in a manner, this is not a power struggle. This is one more option. Some years ago, we were talking about unification of technology. Is there a one single cloud stack that serves different purposes? Well, answer is no. There are multiple options. And therefore, we talk about multi-cloud. And therefore, we talk about being cloud agnostic. And the cooperation with the hyperscalers, the ability to leverage the hyperscale infrastructure is one more option on top of everything else that we have been doing traditionally since many years. So it's not a power struggle, it's one more option to say where the right kind of workloads can sit where.
Fantastic, yeah. So under this context, let's talk for a bit about the first topic, which is the multi-cloud as a shared control platform. So multi-cloud is no longer simply about resiliency. So telcos are not doing multi-cloud because they want to have a backup. So it's becoming the technical foundation of a balanced partnership where neither the telco nor the hyperscaler dominate the control panel. So I will start with you, Manish, with this question. How are vendors like Nokia architecting network cloud platforms to remain cloud agnostic while still integrating deeply with hyperscalers?
So I'll give an analogy. It's like building first the car platform and then building the car on top of it. So have the right flexible car platform first, so you can build multiple types of cars on the same platform. So that's the kind of approach that we take, which means that for us as Nokia, or in general any telco application provider, we build our applications to be cloud native, to be able to be orchestrated by the Kubernetes basic layer, to be able to use the open source observability framework, and so on and so forth. So basically being cloud native in the truest sense of the word, not just in the matter of being one deployment, rather across the whole life cycle, using the cloud native principles to design the software, to deploy the software, adopt the DevOps principles in our own house. So that's the basics. That's the first step. Then coming to now, that's once you have the platform of the car, then you need a lot of work to build the car as well, and that's where the cooperation with hyperscalers and other industry telco platforms comes into the picture. Now, the approach that we have taken, for example, is that we don't build our own telco cloud. We don't have a Nokia telco cloud, for example. We work with the industry stacks, we work with customer-specific stacks, and we work with hyperscaler stacks. And that now cooperation starts from having the right kind of architecture offices jointly, having the right kind of test labs jointly, and a lot of focus is paid on security hardening and on performance testing. When we first started this cooperation with AWS, for example, there was a lot of work to be done to do the network acceleration, into adopt the telco cloud applications into the infrastructure of hyperscalers. There are some regulatory concerns also that come into the picture, which we had to solve when we first started this. And now after tens of production environments which are live, carrying live traffic in this kind of joint cooperation, I would say it's one more engineering project rather than a innovation journey.
Fantastic, thank you. So this question to Eyas: how do hyperscalers design multi-cloud strategies that empower telcos rather than simply absorbing them into a single dominant platform?
Yeah, interesting question. I'll piggyback to what Manish said, that it's not about a dominant platform or locking workload or telcos into a cloud environment. So from an AWS standpoint, we are all about offering the right choices. And I should expand the right technology choices and options for our customers and their workloads. So when we look at telcos, they have a diverse set of workloads across IT, network, and other segments. We were just talking about a FinOps business for telcos, for that matter. So how do we bring in the right resources, services, management, security, all of those aspects for them, understanding that telecom will work with multiple cloud environments, including their own on-premises systems? So AWS's approach has been to provide management and control in a unified way across multiple cloud environments, offer data and analytics services, offer telemetry and observability services, and offer them a platform and a framework that harnesses AI across the whole multi-cloud framework, whether it's other hyperscalers, whether it's on-premises, all put together. So our focus is, if I sum it up, is provide the option to innovate wherever the workload is. And the workload can be on-premises, edge, including even on devices or across other hyperscalers.
Fantastic. So, Mohammed, how critical is openness and interoperability in preventing partnerships from turning into long-term dependencies?
Okay. So in this relationship between hyperscalers and telcos, so actually interoperability and openness is crucial, because if this is not there, so this relationship will be more dependency more than an opportunity to unlock new opportunities of new capability for both of them. And also this will crack the multi-cloud concept itself. So multi-cloud is giving the telcos the freedom of choice, okay, which make him less dependent on a specific cloud platform. That's why this aspect is very important in the relation between both of them. So this openness and interoperability, so you have to make your different clouds more into API driven, more into orchestrated intent driven also. We have to make sure that the way you engineer and you architect your CNF part and cloud part in general, more into standardization, more into API intent, to make sure that this kind of relationship is bringing you opportunity rather than give you lockness in long-term relationship. And this is good for everyone in the industry to make sure the competition is still there and everyone is competing in a fair way, like what he's actually bringing as a value to each party. So this is my view.
It's fantastic to see your views and to confirm that the multi-cloud becomes a governance fabric of collaboration. It's a playground for cooperation rather than a simple technical architecture or even an obstacle. So it's fascinating. So let's move to the second topic, that is about cloud-native functions and joint cloud-native engineering. So cloud-native networks are no longer being delivered in isolation. So they are increasingly being co-engineered by telcos, hyperscalers, and vendors all together. So I'll focus this question to Mohammed again. So how much real co-innovation are you seeing today in CNF design between vendors, telcos, and cloud platforms or hyperscalers?
This real co-innovation between both parties, we can admit that, as present is increasing by time. So maybe 4 or 5 years ago was a theory. Now we can see some real cases happening on that one. And this is actually one of our advantage and capabilities that NEC is bringing to how to make this leverage between the telco and hyperscaler and how to help in providing new use cases and make this co-innovation happen between both parties to unlock new capabilities. So what we do is we make sure when we build any sovereign cloud, make sure it is open natively in each and every layer, from hardware perspective, from CNF perspective, from all the APIs, orchestration to be open, and make sure that this natively open to be integrated with hyperscalers as well. So I can share one of the use cases that we done with one of our customers, for example, is we have make utilization of this capability to give a new capability for telco through dependency on hyperscalers. So it's about, all telcos have their own, for example, 5G core, okay, what they have, and all of this is sovereign by default. So, but all of, agility of sovereign clouds is not the best like hyperscalers. You cannot have like on-demand capacity to manage your customer traffic needs and things like that. So what we did is we have made this integration between traditional sovereign clouds, which is we have built as a cloud native by nature, as well as make spillover use cases and resilience use cases using this 5G core on top of hyperscaler. So we have brought NEC 5G core application, and we have put this on top of AWS, and we deeply integrate this to the sovereign cloud of this customer. So the customer now have, for example, he knows that he have 5 or 6 planned spikes in traffic every year, so he can plan to spill over this traffic instead of having reserved capacity, and he's losing money on this reserved capacity. So he's pay per use and make use of this one. Same time, in case of any outage or failure, so it gives another layer of resiliency that he can immediately move his traffic to the hyperscaler, and also he can pay per use. So the business case is very successful. This is one of the use cases that really show the co-innovation value between both parties.
Great, fantastic. So yes, how do hyperscalers reconcile cloud-native efficiency with telco-grade determinism and the 5 nines availability?
Yeah, I think interesting convergence of 5 nines and telecom grade and cloud native all together in that one question. Yeah. If we unpack a telecom network, and when we talk about 5 nines, what is a telecom network? A collection of networking assets, NIC cards, servers, racks, sites, regions, and awesome amount of networking and throughput that does fail over if something goes wrong. And there's been history of solidifying architectures and putting transport networks and backbones that work. But what that resulted in is a lot of over-provisioning, a lot of additional cost, a lot of operational complexities. And if you pick the cloud side on the other side, that was built software native. So when we think about resilience and HA and cloud native, Amazon CTO once famously said, all the things fail every time. Everything fails all the time. So when you're designing something for high availability, for resilience, for 5 nines, for telecom grade, we keep that design principle in our mind. So we have to build something secure, we have to build something highly available, and we have to ensure that we are either telco grade or better. And we host financial services, we host NASDAQ, and we host mission critical applications like telecom happens to be a national critical infrastructure for emergency services and other services. So our approach to it has been software-centric, event-driven, and providing an infrastructure and auto-scaling mechanisms that can still equate to delivering the 5 nines outcome that telecom networks are built for. And if I go a step deeper, basically if you look at cloud offers services as in building blocks. So our approach has been, when we talk about storage, when we talk about compute, when we talk about networking, bring the high availability and resilience and durability as part of the individual building block design. And from there onwards, when we bring all of them together to build a network or host any network workloads for that matter, we are able to deliver the right outcome. So in summary, software-driven, software and event-driven with auto-scaling functions.
Great. So Manish, where do you see the biggest architectural friction today between the cloud-native design and the legacy telco cores?
So I'll go back to what was being discussed just now about the 5 nines. You know, when we talk about two different philosophies, one philosophy is we scale just in time, another philosophy being provision enough from the beginning. Yeah. So thankfully that friction has been solved today. The friction that remains to be solved, and there is still a lot of work to be done there, is that typically a telco operations is a combination of multiple legacy technologies and the cloud native technologies. So when we talk about any kind of observability framework, when any kind of automation framework, you end up having a very solid framework for the vertical stack that is on the combination of hyperscalers and telco. But then when we look horizontally across the whole technology landscape of a typical CSP, there's a lot of careful attention to be paid in making sure that we are not inadvertently breaking something when we're fixing something here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there is a lot of integration, engineering overhead still to make sure that we're able to carry the legacy technology together with the latest technology.
Yeah, great. It's good to see that with the right approach, with a cooperative approach, actually the CNFs become a shared innovation layer rather than a vendor-only product domain.
Right, right.
Yeah. So moving into the next topic, which is the network as code, as a joint monetization engine. When networks become programmable through APIs, the infrastructure actually transforms into a joint digital marketplace. So, Eyas, let me ask this topic with you. So, in network as a code models, where does long-term value really sit? With the cloud platforms or with those who control the customer proximity at the edge?
Yeah, I think long-term value needs to be a mix of both and probably more. Not only the edge, and I trust the edge here means telecom data center and proximity to the customers, and
Correct.
hyperscalers being more in the regions. The way AI and intelligence and the long-term value is evolving, it's actually going further deeper towards the devices also. So for me, it would be a collection of all of this put together, and I would humbly disagree with the word of control. I think we need to harness the long-term value. We need to create the platforms together, the right data and AI foundation to actually be able to deliver any meaningful value. And we must think beyond just connectivity. We need to talk about AI fabric that builds on top of connectivity, and the application and the services that actually get built on top of the AI fabric. And that continuum then transcends from the device to the edge, to the telecom data centers, to the cloud, and to wherever the application sits. Thank you.
Great. So Manish, in your view, are the telecom vendors structurally ready for an IPA first revenue model, or are they most still trapped in the hardware economics?
I'll take the easier part of the discussion first. Definitely no lock-in with the hardware. Definitely not. That legacy mindset is not there. There are still some minor applications within the telco domain where layer 1 networking comes to the picture, so access and transport, where is a space for system on chip and custom design hardware. But for the large parts of telco applications, specifically in the areas of OSS, BSS, security, core, there is absolutely no reason for not choosing the COTS hardware, not choosing the multi-cloud environment, not choosing the standard off-the-shelf telco cloud platforms, and not choosing the hyperscaler advantage that we have. Coming to the API, I'll split that into two parts. APIs in terms of making the applications work on a telco stack, that part is solved, that's done. But being able to use that, leverage those APIs for the purpose of 5G monetization, there is a lot of effort still to be done. It's not enough to expose those APIs because of the regulations that we are bound by, because of the data privacy and sovereignty issues that we are bound by. There's a lot of hand-holding required to bring the larger ecosystem together with us. Now those efforts can be in the form of publishing the SDKs, that can be in the form of creating pilot use cases, working together, and we already see some examples of that across the world. Not so much here in this market yet, but a lot of traction is visible in many of the 5G SA customers that we have.
Great. So Mohammed, in the same line of thought, in your view in NEC, are traditional vendors ready for a world where revenue shifts from hardware and licenses to programmable service ecosystems?
I believe it's not an option anymore. So vendors who want to stay and be relevant, so they have to avoid this lockness. From NEC side, we did this for all of our platforms, and within our overall system integration capabilities, we believe in openness from day one. So we have designed each and every of our solution to be more and open, more into software-oriented, open architecture, API-based, following standardization. So in summary, any vendor that he will insist on being in his own lockness in very few years will be totally irrelevant. In reality, we see many vendors on OEMs now start to be opened, even in very critical and profitable products in their portfolio. Many people have started to join community ecosystems, shared labs, integration projects, going into autonomous standardizations like TM Forum and stuff. As part from our ecosystem as NEC, most of our ecosystem partners are actually went open, and we are working together into shared development teams, interoperability projects, open automation and orchestration, and co-innovate together. So it's not an option.
Great. So yeah, we can say that I think we coincide that under the right level of cooperation, the network as a code or network as a service enables commonetization. And I think we agree that we don't want to see the same dynamic of the OTT and the telcos where the market value was destroyed, but rather increase the market value working together, and the main benefit will be translated to the final customer. So let's move into the next topic. So we cannot avoid mentioning the two magic words of AI. So let's talk about OSS and BSS and AI operations, AI ops, as a joint operating model. So the true partnership exists not only in architecture, but in the day-to-day operations. And OSS BSS is where commercial models, automation, and customer experience finally converge in this multi-cloud environment. So now this is your playground, Denise. So I will start with you with the first couple of questions. So the first one being, how are cloud-native OSS BSS platforms fundamentally changing how telcos operate and transform now and beyond 2025, 2026?
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me as part of the panel. I feel very honored with my colleagues from very estimated companies. I'm CEO of Verticloud. Verticloud, I'm in the ecosystem, but I'm a bit smaller. I'm the Salesforce advisory partner trailblazer in the GCC region, focusing on industry cloud transformation, mainly on telco, and also industry agent implementation, industry-specific agent implementation. And I think I feel a bit special here, like Isham from Salesforce, my ex-colleagues yesterday, because I'm kind of the only one talking about application and software, while we are talking a lot about cloud and multi-cloud, sovereign cloud and all that, but that's part of the ecosystem. And yesterday, Motaz and Rohit talked about all the capabilities of AWS, without which we could not do these industry clouds projects with Salesforce. And thanks to AWS Cloud being available now in the UAE and very soon in Saudi, telcos now can really start transformation with a cloud-based industry solution. And the good news is that with this type of solution, they don't have to do big bangs, big projects. They can do things progressively, meaning less risky and also bringing value quicker. Like, if I'm focusing mainly on the B2B and the customer experience, they can start by using those solutions to, for example, for the sales to deploy lead and opportunity management, then implement catalog and pricing, moving to the code, the contracting, and potentially up to the order management. And they can do that in a phased approach. And for example, in the ICT world, with complex B2B services, usually a lot of telcos so far didn't have the right stacks to do it. And they had the stack to sell connectivity, but not cloud services, professional services, IoT, cybersecurity, to name a few. And this can be deployed quite quickly. At Verticloud, we just deployed a satellite operator in the past few months, just in a few months, actually, for the lead to contract cycle. And so that would be my main thing. I can add something about agents, maybe, or
do you think that can the telco safely deploy AI agents to transform faster, partnering with hyperscalers nowadays?
No, exactly. And I think today it's evolving. It's even driven by agents somehow. And again, relying on the AWS technology plus the Agentforce technology, for example, from Salesforce, we can definitely, and even without changing the CRM first, we can do that in parallel to run AI-driven, agent-driven, and telco agent-driven, transformation and bringing value quite quickly. There are really dozens of examples of agents which are sales focus, marketing focus, client services focus, which are really bringing value, from day one. Of course, for that, you need to have the right data available and clean and all that. You need to have the right computing power, but again, that you get it from AWS. If I take some examples, sales assistant agent, I'm taking those examples on purpose because we talked about a lot of network agent example in the past 2 days, but preparing calls, preparing meetings for salespeople, gathering all the information, getting all the information from a 360 point of view before a client meeting or before a client call, preparing the summary of the meeting, preparing a quote based on all the information available for the review of the sales guy, preparing a pricing optimization recommendation, all that type of things. I really have dozens of examples, and of course in customer care as well, identifying in advance issues, analyzing, if there's been some issues with the network, so when you meet the client, you have all the status about all the defects. Do you know if the customer is up to date in terms of payments? All that. So all these agents can help you really prepare that. And of course, they can make suggestions, but you can also automate later some of those actions if the sales team, the customer services team become comfortable. Because one of the key things is adoption. It's good to develop all these agents and all that, but they need to be adopted by the salespeople, by the customer care people, by the marketing people. And the more and more it's adopted, it means we can move to automate, not only recommend, making recommendations. So I think that's an important point. So I really believe that the future is in telco industry agents, basically running those transformations based on industry clouds.
Thank you, Denise. So Mohammed, in your view, are today's OSS BSS platforms truly capable of real-time API-driven cloud operations at a carrier grade?
I can say mostly yes, but the point is that utilized, deployed or no. So in NEC and Netcracker, being an NEC company, we do lots of OSS and BSS digital transformation projects. And this is a very, very big word, when we're talking about. So answering this as this big scope in general, it's not easy to have one answer fit all. So if you look into what relevance to the cloud itself, specifically from the OSS part and cloud orchestration in general, we can say that yes, platforms are there, but the point is telcos has to develop the skill, governance, and operating model on how to make this happen. Also, the support from the other layers that could be more, programmable and giving the right APIs and to have the right agility to unlock this capability. And this, of course, will go up to the BSS layer. So in summary, the OSS and BSS layer is not more into as a back office engine more than it's the real brain of business. So the OSS is giving the right capability from network side and from IT side, and the BSS is giving this from business side. So capability is there, but the point is how to really unlock this and how telcos are ready to consume this capability.
Thank you, Mohammed. And yes. Do you think that AI-driven operations is becoming a shared intelligence layer between telcos and hyperscalers, and who ultimately controls that intelligence?
Yeah, I'll try to answer this a little differently. I think we are honored with all the trust that other panelists have on AWS. So where our focus has been actually building capabilities that allow the outcomes that our esteemed panelists here are driving for our joint customers. So when we talk about AI agents or agentic systems, how do we feel confident that the decisions an agent would make sense? What's the probability of a fault there? How do we have visibility into that decision making? How do we benchmark language models? How do we manage the life cycle management of the models? All of that. So basically building our muscle and technology around the enablement of the assets and technologies which realize the use cases that are important for our customers. So for us, it's not about controlling or having a platform that locks use cases and customers in, but enabling our customers to get to the outcomes that they're trying to drive.
Great. So we can see how the future of the network operating centers becomes a co-managed digital operations environment. So I will skip to the closing question. So we had a section about regulatory, but we already had a panel about regulation. And for the sake of time, I'll move to this dynamic. I'll do a kind of a rapid fire to each one of you. So I would like a yes, no answer plus a short sentence just to justify about the statement that I will read to each one of you. So I'll start with Denise. So Denise, this is the statement, so yes, no, and a short sentence. So the best telco BSS OSS cloud stacks are now ready to deploy in the GCC to enable AI transformation.
Yes, completely. And you can start first by implementing a few telco-specific agents, as I was mentioning before finalizing a larger cloud-based transformation based on these three cloud. And this is basically where we are here for to help at Verticloud.
Thank you. So, Ayaz, this one for you. The edge will become the primary zone of joint value creation.
I would say no. I think it would be a continuum, and we must partner across all elements, not just edge.
Great. So this one for Mohammed. Sovereign cloud will increase hyperscaler presence, not reduce it.
It depends on how the hyperscaler will react. So sovereign cloud is a need because of regulations and data privacy. So according to their adaptation, they can have more presence in local and regional peace. And this is what we see had happened here in this region. And based on the good reaction from hyperscaler, their presence and their business is growing in the region.
And finally, this one for you, Manish. The best telco cloud stacks will always remain hybrid.
Cautiously, yes. I'll use an adjective on top of hybrid, engineered hybrid. There's a lot of work required to make the hybrid telco cloud work with the right kind of resilience, with the right kind of 5 nines, with the right kind of security, with the right kind of sovereignty principles to be taken into account. So engineered hybrid.
Right. So what today makes very clear is that the future telco cloud stack will not be built by hyperscalers alone, and it will not be defended by telcos in isolation. It will be shaped through co-architecture, co-investment, and shared governance, with hyperscalers providing global AI and platform scale, and telcos providing customer proximity, sovereign infrastructure, and trusted execution at the edge. The most successful digital economies will not be those that choose between telcos and hyperscalers, but those that design a balanced, trusted, and economically sustainable partnership between both. I would like to thank the panelists for your great contribution today, and thank you to the audience for bearing with us until now before the dinner. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.